What's going on, everybody? Happy game day. Happy Sunday. I am pretty pumped to get ready for week 3 here. I'm up against Mason in the Flock League. So I've been having to make, a good number of decisions this week on if I want to make a trade, make a move, if I want to do that now, if I want to do it later. But look, we are here this morning. Happy to help you guys with all your start, sit, and trade questions. Best of luck to you this week. We are literally so slammed with trade questions and start sit questions on the site right now. We're pretty much going to have to dive right into those. So I'll try to answer some of these in the chat for you guys as well. But just let you know, if you want to jump the line here and you want to ensure that you're going to get your start, sit, and trade question answered, I would highly recommend following that link that I just dropped in the chat here. It's also pinned in the comments, and you can get your start, sit, or trade questions answered live. So what's up, Alan? Mr. Magic's to start 2, Pollard, Jalen Warren, Keenan. I'm probably going to go with Keenan Allen and Pollard there. PPR pick 2, Igbuka, Cup, and Troy. I know Igbuka is going to be limited in terms of snap share this week, potentially, but I'm still going to go with Igbuka and Cup because I trust them the most, even more than Troy Franklin so far. I want to see a little more with Troy Franklin before I say, yeah, you got to start him, you got to flex him. Start 3, full PPR, Calvin Austin, Scattaboo, Travion, Downs, and Shaheed. Let's go with Downs, let's go with Scattaboo, and let's go with... Honestly, let's go with Shaheed until Travion Henderson's snap share goes up. Even with JSN being sick and Igbuka limited snaps. Yeah, I'm still comfortable starting both of them, flexing both of them if you have to, especially JSN. I'm more comfortable with JSN than I would be Igbuka. So, all right, guys, let's dive into this. Yes, Vice City, I am answering start sit questions before kickoff. So that's what I'm working on here. We're going to move over to the site with the start sit questions and get this show on the road because we have a lot, and I mean a lot, to answer and help you guys with. So again, if you want guaranteed to get these questions answered, I would recommend getting those submitted as soon as you can. So Ambitious Stump. This is actually a Dynasty Jalen Waddle QJ for T. Higgins in a third. We're easily going to take Higgins here. That's not even a question. So Ashton Genty and Nico for Malik Neighbors. I'm not going to lie. I think it's a bad time to sell low on Ashton Genty, and I think it's a bad time to sell low on Nico Collins. I don't think I'm going to make this move here, man. I'm a big fan of buying the dip on some of these lead wide receivers and lead running backs in decent offenses. And while Malik Neighbors, we know exactly what he's going to do for the rest of the season as long as he stays healthy, I don't think we've seen the ceiling and the consistency that we can see for the rest of the year with Genty and Nico Collins. So let's hold both of your guys here. I'm not going to panic yet. We got a super chat from Bitter Hornet. I'm actually not seeing anything here, Bitter Hornet. For whatever reason, I can't see your super chat comments. So what I'm going to do here is send you a trade question voucher, and I'll mark this one as complete. Sorry about that, man. So Dan R. Key, we got a start sit question here. QB, T-Law, Waiver, Smith, Darnold, Stroud, Brown, etc. I like T-Law there. I'm good starting T-Law this week. I'm totally fine with that. We got CMC and Travis Etienne at running back. I love that. At wide receiver, we've got Devonta Smith and Higgins to pair with BTJ. Let's go with Higgins this week. He's a wide receiver too, and an offense that's going to pass the ball more than Philadelphia is. With your flex spots, we're basically deciding between Henderson, Judkins, and Devonta Smith. Let's go with Devonta Smith for sure. We know that we know what his opportunity and snap share is going to look like. Actually, we don't know what his target volume is going to look like, but we do know that at least he's going to be on the field and Henderson's not. I also am pretty confident this week that Judkins is going to be on the field more often than Henderson is going to be. Hopefully I don't eat my words on that, but I think I would go with Judkins this week over even Jennings is really close to Judkins because Judkins is going up against Green Bay. I'm going to go with the running back this week. I know the upside shot honestly is going to lie with Juwan Jennings, but I think with the volume that Quinshon is going to get and what you saw last week and how you expect it to increase this week, I think I'm cool just riding with Jennings or with Judkins. With MJ Jolly, appreciate your trade question, man. He said Jalen Waddle and Worthy for Rashee Rice. Try to get an extra piece on top here, but in theory, I am okay with it. I would probably try to get even try to get like Ayuk. if you have to throw something back like a second, do it. I'm cool taking Rice and trying to buy him low before he moves up in value. But you know, I would like to try and get a little bit more if you can. Vice City said that Judkins pick is looking promising, but not for sure, not guaranteed yet. Don't worry, guys. I will be back once Judkins starts producing. So Michael's been deliberating on that for mad long. Yeah, no problem, man. Happy to help you out. Fannin or Hampton, Matt Dizzy says in the comments. I think I'm going to go with Hampton this week. He's still, I still trust that he was getting goal line carries last week and he just got stuffed. Like you give him a goal line carry, one of those goes in. We're having a totally different conversation about Hampton this week. He's going to get in the end zone. It's only a matter of time. Again, guys, if you want to get your start sit questions answered, want to jump the line, you can follow that link that I just dropped in the comments. It's also pinned in the chat, and I'll be happy to help you. We got more trade questions here, a couple of Dynasty ones. Let me see if I can find a redraft. Jalen Hurts and Nico Collins for Mahomes and Derrick Henry. So basically, a Mahomes for Hurts swap and a Derrick Henry for Nico swap. Looking at your roster here, you have Hampton, and that's about it. And at wide receiver, you have Puka and Terry and Olave and JSN. Yeah, no, I'm doing this with your given your situation. That makes a lot of sense. You need the running back help. This is essentially a pivot. I like it. So Cadester, we got a start sit question from you, man. Appreciate you. Omarion Hampton and DeAndre Swift are basically who you're trying to decide between here. With Swift's hamstring issues, Swift has had a history of injury problems. I would definitely go ahead and ride with Hampton this week over Swift, honestly, with those hamstring issues. We may want to flex Swift potentially here. Let's see who's available. BCJ and Amon-Ra at wide receiver. Fannin over Ingram at tight end. Ingram's not playing this week. And then flexing Swift or JMO or honestly Troy Franklin or Tillman. We're going to go with JMO this week. I feel the most comfortable with him. I'm a little bit suspect with Swift, honestly, with the new hamstring news. I know we did like a start sit primer video that we dropped yesterday, and we had recorded that on Friday morning, or maybe it was Thursday, I don't remember. And I said basically like, hey, between Swift and Jordan Mason, who do you prefer? And I said Swift. I've changed my mind because I didn't realize that it was a hamstring issue. I thought he was like a little banged up with a quad problem, but it's a hamstring, which makes me a lot more concerned there. So I would definitely go with JMO here. I think he's safer this week. Boom Roasted, what's up, man? He says Burrow, ETN, Kincaid for May, Tet, and Kelsey. This is not even close to me. I am very, very impressed that you're able to pull this off. Like, insanely impressed, especially post-Burrow injury. That's a great deal. Okay. Look, 2 a.m. Appreciate you submitting, my friend. This is another start sit question. We got Caleb Williams at QB, Bijan and Javonte at running back. I love it. Achan. Did you start Achan? I'm assuming you started Achan, right? I'm going to operate under the assumption that you did start Achan. And then, because he's a must start every week, we'll go with London this week. Honestly, I would rank Odunze over JSN this week because JSN has the flu. And then it's basically between Judkins, Javonte, JSN, Tet. Oh boy. That's a tough one, not gonna lie. I'm gonna go with the running back in a good matchup. I'm gonna take Javonte here. That's a tough one. But with JSN having the flu this week, I don't really know. I mean, is he gonna have a Michael Jordan flu game? Or is he going to be a little bit shaky? I wouldn't blame him if he was. Like, he has the actual flu. So, like, he's not going to be 100%. So we'll go with Javonte. Start sit from Combat. Appreciate you, man. We got Gibbs and Mason at running back. I love it. We got wide receiver. With this combination of elite talent, who are my starting 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 1 flex? Yep. So Gibbs and Mason, or Gibbs and Kamara for sure, are going to be your top 2 running backs. Your top 2 wide receivers are going to be BTJ, and we will go with Tet over Marv this week. And then at flex, 1 flex, it's basically Pickens or Marv. We'll go with Marv. I think Marv. I'm not panicking on Marv yet. Pickens has a really good matchup, but he is a 2, and Marv is a 1 in his respective offense. So that would be my answer there, man. appreciate you submitting. All right, guys, again, if you want to get your start, sit, and trade questions answered, feel free to follow this link that I just dropped in the chat. It's also pinned in the comments. I'm going to get through as many of these, all of them, before the start of the game today, or the 1 o'clock slate. Also, go Colts. They play at 1. They're 2-0. They play Tennessee. It would be so on brand for them to choke and find a way to lose this game. But you know what? We're going to stay optimistic and positive. They always seem to make it really close in the Tennessee game. Every single year. All right, here we go. So we've got start sit from Logan. At QB has got Bo Nix. Running back, we have James Cook. We also have Jacobs, Walker, Mason, Gibbs. Okay, so Gibbs obviously must start. You started Cook, which I love to see. Neighbors and wide receiver. Your second guy between Higgins, Tet, Devonta Smith. Let's take the number 1. Let's take Tet McMillan. And then flex is going to be difficult here. We're deciding between Jacobs, Walker with no Charbonnet, Mason, Higgins, Hunter, Smith. Higgins, Hunter, Smith are all wide receiver 2s and non-running backs. Their floors are objectively the lowest. I'm not starting any one of these guys over these 3 running backs. We're going to take Walker without Charbonnet, and we are going to go Jacobs. I still think you have to start Jacobs, even though he's playing against Cleveland's front 4. He's just... You can't not start him. You just can't not. Like, I understand that Derrick Henry scored 2.3 points last week. I'm not going to be the one to tell you guys to sit Josh Jacobs this week. I don't have the balls to do that. Sorry. We do have him a tier below where we usually have him ranked this week, but again, it's in a must-start tier. So they literally run their offense through the run game. Like, that's why they're so good. DK Nap 28 at QB. We've got May versus Herbert. So looking at our rankings this week, we do have them close-ish together. Herbert has a matchup against Denver, and then May is going up against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is going to be a tougher matchup. Obviously, you've seen a couple of productive QBs go up against them, but nothing like insane like from Sam Darnold last week. So with the way that Daniel Jones showed out against Denver's defense last week, I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little more comfortable with Herbert this week. I think he's safer. Running back, we got Henderson, Dobbins, Javonte, Chase Brown, and Connor. So Chase Brown for sure, Javonte for sure. Connor's actually getting less and less workload, which is crazy. But wide receiver, we've got Tet McMillan and then BTJ and Devonta Smith and Ladd. So we'll go BTJ. I think this week, Tet and Ladd, we literally have back-to-back. If you want to start Tet against Atlanta, I am totally okay with that. I'm totally good with that. There's no one else really contending for targets with him, and Ladd actually is. Tyler Warren at tight end, I love it. And then flexing, deciding between Henderson, Dobbins, Connor, and Ladd and Smith. So again, we have Ladd at like wide receiver 18 this week, James Conner at wide receiver 17. When you're looking at James Conner's volume, it hasn't been anything crazy. It's been 12 and 11 carries the last 2 weeks. He salvaged his day last week with a touchdown on the ground, was not super efficient. He salvaged his day against New Orleans with a touchdown in the air and was very inefficient. 14 and 12 points going up against San Fran. He had easy matchups against New Orleans and Carolina too, so I honestly am a little bit worried this week. I think I'm going to go with, oh boy. Let's go with Ladd. Ladd first 2 weeks has started about as slow as Connor has, but 9 and 5 targets, 13 and 9 points. Okay, I changed my mind. We're gonna go with Connor this week. I don't feel great about either of them, but I am gonna give precedence to the top 18 running back over the top 18 wide receiver. That's a good question there, man. That's a tough one, but I feel pretty good about your starting lineup. You got a lot of depth as well. I would consider some up tiers there on that roster. Squid, we got Bo Nix at QB. We've got Chase Brown and CMC at running back, Drake London and Sutton at wide receiver, Warren at tight end, and Devonta Smith in your flex. Basically deciding between Henderson, Golden, and Ellick at your second flex. I'm still going to go with Henderson. I don't feel good about Golden. He's not getting any targets. Ellick's actually getting target volume, but I don't really know what that's going to look like this week. It hasn't really turned into any sort of like crazy production yet. So I wanna see a little bit more with Ellick, and I want to see Cam Ward be a little more efficient with the volume that he's providing for those receivers before I'm like, heck yeah, you go with Ellick over Henderson right now. I'll bet on Henderson getting a little more usage this week. Cole Whitty, appreciate your trade question, man. Ashton Genty for Hunter and a mid first. Hunter owner wants running back. Do I buy low on Hunter or hold on my running backs? Can you guys build trade I should do? I'm not gonna lie, Cole. I would build a trade that I think you should do if I wanted you to trade away Ashton Genty, and I don't want you to trade away Ashton Genty right now. I think it's a bad time to do it. I don't want you to make this move. I want you to sit tight and wait for Genty to produce with the volume that he's currently getting, and then we can talk about it again. But as it stands, we're not moving Genty. Appreciate your trade question, Cole, and please feel free to send me a DM. Feel free to tag us in the Discord. We'll be happy to help you further in future weeks with the deal involving that if you really do want to end up offloading Genty at like a premium later. But again, now is just not the time for us. So George 62,000, appreciate you submitting the start sit question. We've got Jalen Hurts at QB. We've got Jordan Mason at running back with your choice of basically Benson or Henderson. And I think we're going to go with Henderson. Puka, BTJ, Juwan Johnson at tight end, which is looking pretty good right now. Tet McMillan at flex. And then your third flex spot, is it going to be Olave or Benson? I mean, it's not even close. It's Chris Olave, hands down, 100% going to be your last flex option here. This is a great starting lineup. I feel really good about this week. That's Olave and Tet in your flex is real nice. NSAB 22, we got Chuba and Amon-Ra St. Brown in a dynasty for Jacobs and JSN. Okay, so Jacobs obviously a step up from Chuba, and JSN a little bit of a step down from Amon-Ra, but I'm not going to lie, dude, with JSN rising in dynasty right now, I'm going to call this fair. I think it's worth the upgrade at running back. I think you're a little more secure now that you get the upgrade from Chuba to Josh Jacobs, and really production upside-wise, you're about the same with JSN and Amon-Ra, so... All right, guys, appreciate all y'all tuning in right now. If you want to get your start sit questions answered, feel free to follow this link, jump the line. I can't guarantee that I'm going to get all your start sit and trade questions answered in the comments, but I am going to be answering all the ones that are submitted on flockfantasy.com on this link here. So again, if you want to jump the line, guarantee that you get your start sit question answered, feel free to follow that link. It's also pinned in the comments as well. Hawkinson or Fannin this week, Albanian says. I'm not going to lie, I'm going with Fannin. I'm going with Fannin because he's producing and Hawkinson's not. That's a good question. Marv or Devonta Smith. This is from Ioana. I'm going to go with Marv this week. Here's the thing. As cautious as people are being with Marv right now, he still has more volume than Devonta Smith does in an offense that passes the ball more. And he's not a number two. Ramondre, Igbuka, or Travis Hunter from Mike. I'm going to go with Igbuka this week. Even though Igbuka might have limited snap share potentially, everybody here is getting limited snap share. Travis Hunter isn't producing. Ramondre is splitting with Henderson. So I think I would go with Igbuka. Dynasty JC is going up. My rankings Nico is going down. I would still go with Nico there, I think. Bad time to sell Nico most of the time. Pearsall, Kamara, Odunze, Hubbard, Igbuka, Keenan Allen, PPR start 3. We'll go with Kamara for sure, Odunze for sure, and honestly, Chuba for sure. So Kamara, Odunze, and Chuba. There you go, man. I'm taking basically all the guys that have the least amount of competition. Kamara's not competing with anybody. Odunze is the established wide receiver one there. Hubbard's not competing with anybody. Igbuka's limited. Keenan Allen has a lot of competition. Pearsall, decent amount of competition in offense where Purdy's not playing right now. All right, so let's refresh this here. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Feel free to drop your start sits and trade questions in the chat or jump the line, and we will get them answered here on the stream on the site as well for you. So let's check this out. We got a trade question from Adam. Appreciate you, man. This is a redraft. Aaron Jones, Bashal, Tootin, Jordan Mason. So basically the Vikings backfield and Tootin for BTJ and Pacheco. Take BTJ. This is a start 7. You got to take BTJ. This is a phenomenal buy low opportunity. Well done. Unexplained, appreciate you, man. He says Drake May versus Jaden Daniels not playing this week. So we got May, Saquon at running back, Hampton, Henderson, Krosky, Merritt. We'll go with Hampton. Wide receiver, we have London and Ladd. Who's your third guy? Tet, Igbuka, Pearsall, Worthy. Worthy's not playing. Tet is the guy that I feel the most comfortable with for sure. He's the unquestioned wide receiver 1 and is not banged up right now. Doesn't have a QB that's banged up. Warren at tight end, I love it. And then it's basically between Henderson, Krosky, Merritt, Igbuka, and Pearsall. Let's go with Pearsall this week. He's the only one that's not having potentially limited snap share like Krosky, Merritt, and Henderson, and is not banged up like Igbuka. Vice City 34, we got Geno Smith at QB making up for Jaden Daniels being out this week. Alvin Kamara at running back. Running back 2, we got Hampton versus Nick Chubb. I'm going to go with Hampton this week. Again, we would not be having this conversation if Hampton had punched one of those in at the goal line last week. And I just feel better about him. He's just a better, more talented running back in an offense that could, if they, wanted to give him realistic snap share and not put in Najee Harris, like they're going to have to at some point. He's going to be the bell cow there long term. CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore at wide receiver. I agree. Tight ends, Tyler Warren. It's basically Chubb or Diggs at flex. We'll go with Chubb this week. I do not trust Diggs. No one at wide receiver is consistently producing there in New England so far. I don't trust Chubb much more, but at least he's the running back. He's going to get more guaranteed touches than Stephon Diggs is guaranteed to get. So, all right, we got Noonstar QB. We're going to get Bo Nix, running back. Basically, Gentry, Bucky, Sampson, and Bigsby. You take the guys that are number ones. You take Gentry and Bucky Irving, hands down. Wide receiver, we got, let's look at our ones here. Devonta Smith, 2. Olave, 1. Hunter, 2. Marv, 1. Pickens, 2. Pearsall, technically a 1. We'll go with Marv for sure and Olave for sure. Flex is going to be tough to decide. Warren at tight end. It's basically between Hunter, Pickens, Pearsall, and Devonta Smith. Okay, so let's look at our rankings here. Looking at our rankings this week at wide receiver, I'm definitely going to be sitting Travis Hunter until he can show that he'll actually produce. Devonta Smith and T. Higgins, we have 2 spots apart. We got George Pickens going up against Chicago, Devonta Smith going against the Rams. I would take the wide receiver 2 that gets more volume in his offense, but then you're also looking at Ricky Pearsall as well, who we have kind of in that same range going up against Arizona. I feel pretty solid about George Pickens this week because Jalen Johnson is out on the defensive side of the ball for Chicago. He had a really good week last week and a high-scoring game. I think you're going to see something similar this week as well. So we'll go with Pickens. Buddy, appreciate your trade question, man. This is a redraft. Breece Hall and Ladd for Rashee Rice. No, sir. Not doing this. I'm really, really big on Rashee Rice once he comes back, but I mean, this is one where you should be getting a plus on top of moving off of Breece Hall alone. We're not moving both Breece and Ladd to get Rashee Rice. JRBXB, hey guys, love your vids. I need some help here. Thank you. No problem, man. I appreciate you submitting this. Kyler Murray at QB. We got Chase Brown and Devon Achane at running back. Achane was serviceable at the very least. He was good. Romo Dunze, your number 1 at wide receiver, not a question. Garrett Wilson and Nico. Love that. We're going to go with Nico and then flex Garrett Wilson for sure. Those are 3 number 1s. Tight end, we've got Ertz, Pitts, or Juwan Johnson. Let's go with Ertz this week. Ertz has been really, really consistent. I think with Jaden Daniels actually being out this week, that'll help him even more. Mariota, you know what his shortcomings are as a quarterback at this point. We've seen him plenty. We know exactly how he's going to play, what he's going to do, and I think that he's going to need a security blanket like Zach Ertz in the short to intermediate to just get the ball too. I think he'll have a good day. Our second flex spot's going to be between Swift. He's hamstring hurt, so I'm going to hold off on him. Krosky, Merritt. Don't know what a snapshot is going to look like. Igbuka, Hurts, JMO, and then Juwan Johnson and Pitts. I think we're going to go with JMO here. I would go with JMO over Igbuka this week. Appreciate your question there, man. Corbin Dallas says Puka Nacua and Jake Ferguson for Hampton and London. I love Puka Nacua. He's like my favorite player of all time, legitimately. This is a deal that I don't think you can turn down. I think you got to take Hampton and London here. Buy Hampton low, and London's volume is so consistent and so high volume just across the board that, again, it is a step down from the upside that Puka is going to offer. But to get that addition at running back and that long-term play with Hampton, I think, is absolutely phenomenal. 100%. I'm good making this deal on a 12-team start 8. NJC 707, Henderson, Luther Burden for Breece Hall and Cortland Sutton in a Dynasty. I'm not selling Henderson right now. I would hold him, wait until his volume goes up in a Dynasty before you look to move off of him. So good question there, but we're going to stick with your guys. Tyler Warren in a redraft from Barbara Michael, 1225 for Ramondre and A.J. Brown. I think that Tet is nearing the same tier as A.J. Brown rest of season, and Tyler Warren is an elite tight end this year. I mean, we have him ranked as a top 3 tight end rest of season, right there with McBride and Brock Bowers. I think this is an overpay for A.J. Brown, especially with his disappointing start this season. So we'll stick with Tet and Tyler Warren, the rookie pairing. All right, J $. This looks like an incomplete trade. So I'm not sure exactly what you were asking here. Let me see if I can. My side is Neighbors and Addison. So you would be getting Neighbors and Addison and giving up Derrick Henry, Terry McLaurin, and Jaylen Warren. Neighbors and Derrick Henry are pretty close for me. And then Addison versus Terry and Warren. Oh, boy. There's a 12-team start 7 PPR. Oh, gosh. I kind of want to stick with Henry right now. I kind of want to stick with Henry and Terry. I think it's a bad time to sell Terry. Addison is in an offense that doesn't have enough passing volume to get him the ball consistently. And Jaylen Warren, again, is looking to be the running back 1 in Pittsburgh. I really like Neighbors. But again, the difference between him and Henry rest of the season, I don't think is that significant. I think the Cleveland game was kind of just a fluke for Henry. So I would call it a fair deal, but I would probably stick with Henry here. Good question. G Stacks, appreciate your start sit question, man. Lamar Jackson, CMC, Kamara, Neighbors, and then Cooper Kupp at wide receiver over Hollywood Jennings. So just a recommendation here. I would take the number 1 wide receiver in Kansas City going against the Giants today over Cooper Kupp, who's technically the number 2 there. I know JSN has the flu. Maybe this is not even a conversation depending on who you're flexing, though, because you got Debo in your flex. You have Kincaid at tight end, which you have to. And then, yeah, okay, this is not a conversation. You have to start Kupp and you have to start Hollywood, so we don't even have to have the combo. Hollywood's your last flex. Sanjo Wall, appreciate your submission, man. Josh Allen, Chase Brown at running back. Who's our third option here? Jaylen Warren, James Conner, or Tony Pollard, or Travion Henderson. That's going to be tough to figure out. That's going to be really tough to figure out. Let's look at our rankings here and how we have all these guys back to back. I would assume they're all very close to each other. James Conner, we have the highest, which I think makes sense. Tony Pollard, decent matchup against Indy this week. Henderson's going to be a lot lower until he's not splitting a backfield. And then Jaylen Warren, I think, just has a limited ceiling. I think he has a cap ceiling with his opportunity. We have him ranked this week right there with James Conner at running back 18 going up against New England. Let's go with James Conner this week. And then A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, David Njoku. And then your last flexes are going to be these running backs or basically Rome. It's going to be Rome. Rome has just looked phenomenal. You can't not start him. Appreciate your question, Sanjo. What's up, Blue? This is a redraft question, a swap, essentially. Alvin Kamara for Drake London. I mean, this is a half PPR stacked at wide receiver. Could trade one after. If you're stacked at wide receiver, this is going to be tough to give up Alvin Kamara. Hampton and Mason. Then you got Hunter, Chase, A.J. Brown. Okay, I'm not going to lie. The rest of the season, I do still prefer Drake London over Alvin Kamara. I like Drake London a lot. I'll say I'm good with this deal. You're right, though. You will just have to move probably A.J. Brown or like Travis Hunter or something for a running back after making this move. But again, to get Drake London, I think it's worth it. Thanks for your trade question, man. Appreciate you. Again, guys, thanks for coming in and hanging out here. I'm happy to answer your trade questions. Again, if you want to jump the line here and guarantee that I can answer your start trade question, just follow this link that I dropped in the chat. You can also follow the pinned comment, which is also in the chat there. I'm stuck between, Cole says, I'm stuck between Ibuka and Hunter and Pacheco in a flex. I feel your pain. Yeah, I would probably go with Ibuka. A banged up Ibuka is looking to potentially be better than a Travis Hunter because he's not getting enough volume. He's not producing. If BTJ is not producing, when is Hunter going to produce, right? We need to wait. We need to wait until we can start Hunter comfortably, honestly. Feel like this could be a Pacheco breakout game against the Giants. It could be, or it could be a Kareem Hunt breakout game. I mean, again, this was when you look at the snap share last week, I want you guys to see this. When you look at the snap share last week, Kareem Hunt had a 40% snap share, and Pacheco had a 58% snap share. So he did have the upper hand over Kareem, but it's not nearly a fully in favor of Isaiah Pacheco getting the bulk of the work, like, in that offense right now. Like, Kareem Hunt's eating into that workload for sure. Yeah, so that's a tough one. But again, I don't know, man. When is that breakout going to come for Pacheco? Will it ever? All right, Money Mitch, you are going to be up next here. Let me refresh. So we've got some questions. We got a question from Money Mitch. This is a redraft. Drake May, Nico Collins, and Drake London for Lamar Jackson and Jamar Chase. 12 teams start 9. Ay. Oh gosh, in a start 9, you can't do this. You don't have the depth to do this. I don't think you can make this move, man. I don't want to move 2 top 12 wide receivers for Chase with no Burrow. I think Chase is going to be fine, but I legitimately don't think you can afford this up tier in a redraft. I don't think you can do it. I'm going to hold May and Nico here. Bitter Hornet, thanks for your trade question, man. This is T. Higgins for Quinshawn and Matthew Golden. I do not believe in Golden rest of season. Quinshawn is questionable. I'm going to stick with Higgins here. I think it's a bad time to sell low on Higgins before we even see what he's able to do in a Browning offense. I mean, what if he drops 20 this week and we're having a whole different conversation about just the value of T. Higgins in redraft, period. So Quinshawn's on the up. Higgins moving down for sure, but this is just not something I want to do here. I think I'm going to hold. If you would want to instead, why don't you move Higgins for a guy? Why don't you move Higgins for like Garrett Wilson, just straight up? Like, what if you do like a pivot? I would do that. I know that might not be what you're looking for because you're probably looking for a running back, but again, that's probably the only thing that I'm super comfortable with. Playlord, running back 2, wide receiver 2, flex 2 stacked this week. Thank you, bros. Looks like you are stacked. Mahomes at QB. Running back, we have JT. Bucky's definitely going to be a running back 2. Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams at wide receiver. Tight end, Kraft or Pitts. Let's do Kraft. I think it was announced that he's going to play. Correct me if I'm wrong. He is officially active after that knee injury. So we're going to go with Kraft this week. I think you kind of have to. So with your last flex spot, it's Judkins, it's Mason, or DJ Moore, JSN, Rice. Should we do flu game? Chat, let me know. Should we do flu game JSN, or should we just play it safe and go with Jordan Mason? Can't do Judkins this week compared to the rest of the guys that you have as options in your flex because he's got the toughest matchup by far going up against Green Bay. And then DJ Moore's a wide receiver too. Are we going with Mason or JSN? I'm leaning JSN. I'm leaning the most talented guy here. I think that's what I'm going to be sticking with. Good question, man. This is a trade question from JP 2016. Yeah, we got people in the chat all saying JSN. Yeah, I think I agree. Armin saying Mason. JSN, yeah, it's 3-1 so far. I think a lot of people are going to ride with JSN. Yeah, I agree. I think JSN is you just got to bet on the wide receiver one in his offense for sure. Mason with the full workload, we'll see what it looks like. Redraft George Kittle for Quinshawn. I mean, can you afford this? Who else do you have at tight end? Ferguson. Wide receiver, you have Odunze, Hunter, McMillan, Lamb. At running back, you have Scatterboo, Pollard, Henry, Harvey. Man, I really hate to offload Kittle before he comes back healthy. I'll call this fair. I'll call it fair. This is a shot called because this is basically assuming that Quinshawn is going to ball out. And again, all indications were from last week that he probably is going to be pretty solid and at least get a good amount of volume in this offense. But I'll call it fair. I'll call it fair. Trade question, Air BK, Kyren and Keenan Allen in a redraft for Brees and T. Higgins. I like this move. I think this is good. I still think that's a step up from Keenan to T. Higgins, even as a wide receiver 2 with no Burrow. You're still going to have a lot of volume from Browning. And Kyren and Keenan, like, I think Kyren versus Brees, I think this is a fair deal. I'm good with this move. Juwan Jennings and Brock Purdy are both out. So this is actually really big for Ricky Pearsall. So a ton of injury news has come out between the last time that we streamed and now. And that's just another big piece of news this week, guys. So Juwan Jennings is going to be out. I think that means wheels up for Ricky Pearsall because there's legitimately no one else there. Ayuk is out. Kittle is out. Jennings is out. Mac Jones has plenty of passing volume. I think it's going to be a good day for him. Okay, so Gridiron God, New Hampshire, NH. I'm a huge dog play, high risk, high reward, guys. Okay, so let's go with Caleb Williams this week. He's going up against Dallas. Actually, both of those guys have really good matchups this week because they're playing each other. Let's look at our rankings. I kind of want to cross-reference our rankings. We have Caleb and Dak pretty close. I'm not going to lie, actually. I think I would go... After what Dak did last week, 23 points. Caleb Williams does have more rushing upside, though. I'm going to go with Caleb Williams. I feel a little bit better about his floor this week. Running back, we've got Brees Hall and pairing him with either Tootin or Pacheco. I don't feel good about either of these guys. But if I were to pick one, probably got to go with Pacheco because Pacheco doesn't have an ETN in front of him. Wide receiver, we have CD, Evans, and Ladd. I love it. Tucker Kraft, starting him this week because he's healthy. Flexing Drake London, phenomenal. And then basically Tootin, Golden, or Hunter. This one you have to start Hunter. He's just the most talented guy there. Appreciate you, man. Good question. Bitter Hornet super message. I have Daniels, got Browning, I have CMC and Pearsall. Should I get Mac Jones for the stack or get Mariota? Need running back 2. Have JCM and Tootin. No one will trade. So Daniels, and then you have CMC and Pearsall. So Mac Jones actually last week did not have a bad day. Again, his passing volume is pretty solid. He scored 21 points. It's a Shanahan offense. If he's going to throw the ball 40 times again against Arizona, which is a great matchup. So let's just look on the flip side here, because that would be essentially going for the stack with Ricky Pearsall. Marcus Mariota last year, when he played a full game against Carolina, almost a full game, he had 19 points and then 26 points against Dallas week 18 because he has that rushing upside. 34 rushing yards against Carolina, 56 rushing yards and a touchdown against Dallas. He's got Vegas this week, which is a tougher matchup. I'm gonna go with Mac Jones. Try to get the stack with Mac Jones this week. That's a good question, Bitter Hornet. Got another one from you. Very helpful. Thanks. Hey, we really appreciate your support, man. Really appreciate you. Always happy to help you out. Always happy to answer your trade questions. I love all the trade question scenarios that you drop in there. It's always fun to see, just the different ones that you're toying with the idea of making a move for, and all the different combinations. It's fun. It's fun to play theoreticals, but also kind of guide you towards the right moves that we think are like best for your team and your outlook this season. So again, really appreciate all your help and support, and always happy to help you out. So Slayron, start sit question from you. Oh, of course, it's bugging out on me. Okay. Dak Prescott at QB. Good. Kyren, Bucky. Good. Adams, Chase. Love it. Tight end. We got Juwan Johnson or Ferguson. Both of those guys, again, have good matchups this week. Looking at our rankings at tight end, Juwan Johnson has been balling out. We have them back-to-back this week. Juwan Johnson taking on Seattle, Ferguson taking on Chicago. I'm going to go with Juwan Johnson this week. I think he'll get more volume. Rome Odunze in your flex over Monty and Pollard. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree here. This is a great lineup. There we go. Hair in my mouth, gosh. Shay said, trade question for redraft. Ridley and Puka Nacua for Jordan Mason, Nico, and T. Higgins. These are killing me, man. I hate trading away Puka Nacua. Josh Allen, Jacobs, Monty. So you're trying to get running back help with Mason. And then a wide receiver, you have Terry, Jennings. I don't know, dude. I don't really want to make this move. I'd rather get a better running back. Like, try this. Try Derrick Henry and T. Higgins for Puka. Do that instead. I think that would make more sense. If you're going to try to make a splash and get extra help at running back, I wouldn't go for Mason. I would go for a guy that's actually going to make a difference at your running back position. If you're going to sacrifice your strength at wide receiver with Puka Nacua, then you better make sure it's worth it. And Derrick Henry would be worth it to get a plus on top being like T. That is the absolute furthest that I would go. So, yeah, good question. This is probably the type of move that I would be looking for, though. If you're going to try to get running back help, make the running back help worth it if you're going to offload Puka. So start sit from EUTN. Appreciate it, man. Lamar and Daniel Jones at QB over Mac Jones and Purdy. I think I agree. Both those guys have more rushing upside. Devon Achane, Bijan Robinson at running back. JSN, Igbuka, Puka at wide receiver. Okay. At this point, with Igbuka being banged up and Ricky being literally the only man left on the offense for for San Fran, I think you got to go Pearsall on your wide receiver spot. Chris Olave in flex, Chico Okonkwo at tight end over Barner, Mayer, and Ingram. Yeah, I think you have to. And then flexing Montgomery or Igbuka. With Igbuka potentially being on a snap count this week and Monty having a nice matchup against the Ravens, I think we're going to go with Monty. I think we're going to go with Montgomery this week. Chat, tell me if I'm crazy, but I'm feeling Monty this week over Igbuka. Igbuka, we have a wide receiver 25. Monty, we have at running back 25. So they're going to be right there by each other. I think I'm going to lean Monty this week. Appreciate you, man. Adrian, thanks for your start sit question submission. QB, we got Mahomes and then Caleb Williams or Stroud. Caleb Williams is just straight up outproducing Stroud right now. We got to go with Caleb. Monty and Kyron at running back. I like it. Over Pacheco and Tootin. I agree. Nico and Tet at wide receiver. Fannin at tight end. Flexing Khalil Shakir, who you already did. He's locked in. And then it's Pearsall or Higgins. I think we got to go Pearsall with no Juwan Jennings. Nice lineup, man. Best of luck to you this week. You had a nice start with Shakir having a good day. I think he had like 14 points in PPR formats. All right, C-Line at 21-23, debating between a few flex options. Wanted some input. Currently 2-0 in this league. Congrats on being 2-0. Best of luck to you this week. Hopefully we can help you get to 3-0. Dak at QB versus Bryce Young or Caleb Williams. Again, we were just talking about this. I think I'm going to favor Caleb this week because he's shown a higher floor to date over Dak because of that rushing upside. Derrick Henry and Bijan, CD and JSN. Tight end, we're deciding between, okay, it's Warren over Kelsey this week. Warren's actually got a toe injury. He's a little banged up. I'm still going to favor Tyler Warren, though. Flexing JT, that is so broken. Flexing Breece Hall, you have to. That is, again, so broken. No one else really that I'm super excited about at running back other than JCM being a tempting option. Do you have anyone available at wide receiver? Oh, my golly gracious, people. Dude, you got to make some up tiers here. You have Marv, Igbuka, Odunze, and London. You have to start Odunze. I changed my mind about Breece since there's no Justin Fields. We're gonna start Rome Odunze over Breece this week. Golly, you're loaded. You have Rice coming back too. Good gosh, it's clearly a dynasty team, but holy crap, man. You can't even, like, you don't even want to entertain starting JCM or Marv or Downs or Igbuka right now because you're so stacked. That's a great lineup. Do we like Marv over Flu Game JSN? I would still take JSN with the Flu over Marv this week. Yeah, you're definitely gonna go 3-0 with this team, man. Unless you just like start the wrong guys, but even if you start the quote unquote wrong guys, the guys that were the wrong guys to start are still gonna produce. So Bitter Hornet, appreciate your start sit. Happy to help you here. We're looking at QB. Got to start Browning, obviously, because Daniels is out. Running back, we have CMC. Love it. Your second guy, Tootin or Krosky Merritt. Going to go with Krosky Merritt. Wide receiver, Sutton, Higgins, Pearsall, London. So London for sure. Sutton for sure. Tight end, got to go Warren for sure. And then flexing between Higgins, Pearsall, and Igbuka. Igbuka's banged up. Higgins is a 2. Pearsall has legitimately, like, no competition now. With that news that Jennings is out, again, Igbuka right now on the site listed in our rankings, weekly rankings at wide receiver 25. He moves up a tier at least with this new news of Jennings being down. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about Pearsall now. Best of luck this week, man. Grant Biggins, again, guys, if you want to submit start-sit questions, jump the line. I guarantee that I can get this answered before the start of the 1 o'clock slate. Just follow that link that I dropped in the comments. Also, feel free to follow the link in the pinned part of the comments as well. Grant says, chat, please help me out here. I can only start one, Scat, Golden, Hunter, or Franklin. We go Scataboo this week. I think his usage is going to continue to go up. It went up quite a bit last week. He outproduced Tyron Tracy. I think that's going to continue this week. Golden has no targets. Hunter's not producing. And Franklin, I need to see a little bit more before I'm comfortable flexing him over a running back. It's Q said, looking for a potential upgrade here. Any position in mind and who to start as well? Awesome. Congrats, man. So Josh Allen at QB. Running back, we got ETN and Kyron. Got to start those guys for sure. Wide receiver, we've got Sutton, Chase, and Evans. So we will go Chase and Evans with a banged up Igbuka. Laporta or Kraft this week. Let's go Laporta to be safe, just in case Kraft is a little bit slow. And then Sutton in your flex, and then we'll go Dobbins in your flex. Any upgrades that I would have you look at? Honestly, no. I mean, you're going to have Addison coming back from the suspension after this week. Kraft and Laporta is a little bit overkill. What you could do is take one of those tight ends, Kraft or Laporta, package them with like Kyron or ETN and get a really, really meaningful like up tier at running back, trying to like up tier to a Derrick Henry type. And that would be worth it. That would be the number one thing that I would do. I think wide receiver is fine. I'd probably look for a running back up tier there. Appreciate you, it's Q. Camel Cash Money, thanks for submitting your start question, man, or start sit question, man. We got Josh Allen, Bucky, Dobbins at running back. I love it. Puka, BTJ, Bowers, Marv in your flex. Who are we flexing with? Gibbs also. Igbuka, Judkins, Downs, Worthy, Hunter. Shakir, you did not, which is fine. I wouldn't have either, honestly. It's basically going to be between Igbuka, Hunter, Downs, and Judkins. Oh, boy. All right, this one I will go with Igbuka because he's the one guy that has produced, aside from, again, Hunter, Judkins, and Downs. Downs banged up, or Downs is not banged up, but he's a 2. Actually, schematically, he's a 3 in that offense. And they play Tennessee, which has one of the better secondaries in the league. So I think I would favor Igbuka in this one. Appreciate you, man. MD Rob, what's up? What's up, Dalton? Thanks for submitting your start sit question, man. We got Jalen Hurts at QB, Goff at QB as well. James Conner and James Cook. That looks pretty good to me. And then wide receiver, we have Adams, AJ Brown, Tyler Warren, flexing Tyreek Hill and Derrick Henry. So who's your last flex here, Debo or Pickens? So with I think both of these guys' outlooks this week are actually pretty positive. I think Debo will be fine with Mariota. I like Pickens more going up against Chicago. I feel a little bit better about Pickens. When you look at our rankings this week, we have Pickens at wide receiver 31, and we have Debo at wide receiver 27. Again, they're in the same tier. My gut is telling me George Pickens this week. Good question, Dalton. All right, just refreshing here. And again, guys, feel free to drop or follow this link if you want to get your start sit questions and trade questions answered live. All right, so we got a question from Chris C30, Igbuka for George Kittle in a redraft. I would hold Igbuka here, very weak at tight end. What do you think? I would rather be weak at tight end and strong at wide receiver than the other way around. You have Pearsall, Sutton, Evans, and Puka in a start 8. I understand why you would want to consider making this deal for Kittle, because actually you can't even start any one of these guys any given week. I would honestly look at a wide receiver up tier before I looked at. You can ride out the season with Fannin and you'll be fine. I would hold Igbuka right now. I don't think I'd make this move. If anything, I'd make an up tier at wide receiver. Not Luck, just Bucky. This is a Dynasty trade question. CJ Stroud and Bucky for Mahomes and RJ Harvey. I think this is worth it for Mahomes. I'm good making this move in a super flex. It's the rest of your team. Tua, Penix, Chuba, Judkins, Chase, DK, Waddle, London, Tet, Ertz, Sanders, Ferguson. I mean, I think it's a fair deal. I'm good with you taking Mahomes here. Thanks, Not Like Just Bucky. Appreciate it. So JLE 50, we got start sit question Bo Nix at QB because Fields is down. Running back, we got Chase Brown, Genty, Pollard, Judkins. So Chase Brown for sure, Genty for sure. Wide receiver, we got Amon-Ra, and then flu game JSN, fingers crossed. And then flexing Jordan Mason, Pollard, or Judkins this week. Again, looking at our rankings, we've got Pollard at running back 22, Jordan Mason at running back 20. He's going up against Cincinnati. I think you have to start Mason this week. Good question, man. Site be bugging out on me. Ugh, of course. Come on, don't go out on me. Yes, session is running. Good. Good. Sorry, I had to refresh there real quick. Yeah, no problem, man. Happy to help you. Okay, so let me refill this out again since I didn't save any of it. So annoying. Genty, Chase Brown, wide receiver, we got JSN, and then flexing, Jordan Mason. All right, so starts it from Owen Young, 827. We have Drake May, Kyler Murray at QB. I agree. Running back, we have JCM Henderson. JCM or Henderson? Probably JCM. Odunze and Marv at wide receiver. Deciding between Strange, Andrews at tight end. Golly, I don't like either of those guys. Probably got to go with Andrews. Just hope that one of those touchdowns ends up being his. And then Nico and Zay in the flex over all these other guys, which I agree with. Yep. Solid roster here, man. Solid team. Good luck this week. Appreciate you. Another trade question from Not Like Just Bucky. This is Stroud, Bucky, and London for Allen and Hampton. This is basically Stroud and London for Allen, which I think is fair, and then Hampton for Bucky, which I also think is fair. I will also call this deal fair. I like this. I like this more than the Mahomes deal. because you're actually getting a crazy upgrade at QB and what I would view as a lateral move in Dynasty for Hampton, and it costs you London, but like to get Allen, this one's kind of worth it. I'm good with this move. We're really low on Stroud in Dynasty right now, just because his floor is so low. I like that one a little bit more, man. So we got a start sit from Thronny Boy. Jalen Hurts at QB. We've got at running back, Genty, Kamara, Brees. So we will go Kamara for sure. We will go Brees for sure. And just cross-referencing with our rankings, we've got Kamara and Brees right by Genty. Kamara ahead of Genty. Brees right there by Genty. Probably want to flex Brees here. But let's look at BTJ and CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver. I agree. Tight end, we have Kraft. And then flexing AJ Brown, Olave, DJ Moore, or Genty, or Terry. I would take the running back here. I would take Genty. Good question, man. Nice lineup as well. Good luck this week. Sin212 says James Conner and DK Metcalf in a redraft for Alvin Kamara and Diggs. You're basically paying up to get Alvin Kamara, which I honestly don't hate. Let me make sure that you can afford it. Yes, you can at wide receiver. Yes. Yes, you can afford losing DK to get the Kamara upgrade. I'll call this fair. I'm good with you making the deal. Appreciate your submission, man. Kyle, hey, man. We got a start sit here for Dak versus Burrow. Burrow's out. Chase Brown, Brees, BTJ, CD, Zach Ertz at tight end over Fannin. I agree this week. And then Marvin Harrison in your flex over Sutton and Igbuka. I am okay with that as well. We've got Sutton and Marv right back to each other. Marv going up against San Fran, Cortland Sutton taking on the Chargers. I mean, if we're going to complain about Marvin Harrison's floor, we should complain about Cortland Sutton's floor when he scored like 0 points last week. So I'll go with Marv this week. Good question, man. Cole, got to start sit from him. Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts at QB over Mariota. Yeah, I'm good doing Jones over Mariota. Devon Achane and Brees Hall at running back. Wide receiver, we've got DJ Moore and then Jerry Jeudy, Ibuka, Hunter. Probably want to go with... It's such a tough matchup for Jeudy. It's a really tough matchup for Jeudy. We got Ibuka. I would still go with Ibuka, honestly. And then over those other two guys. And then tight end, we've got Fannin and Okonkwo. You got to start both because you have 2 starting tight end spots. And then flexing Pacheco, Hunter, Jeudy, Worthy. Well, Worthy's out. So Jeudy. And then I think we'll go Pacheco. Again, Travis Hunter taking on Houston. That's going to be a tougher matchup. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on Travis Hunter or anything like that. I just want to be conservative. I just want to be safe. He's had 9 and 5 points for 8 and 6 targets against Carolina and Cincinnati, 2 awful defenses. And now they have Houston this week. Like, I just want to be careful. So it's not because I hate Travis Hunter. It's just, again, I want to be realistic, and I don't want to force anything. Until he starts scoring points. So best of luck to you, Cole, and appreciate your submission. STW, we got Jared Goff at QB with Herbert and Daniel Jones as your second option. I think we'll definitely go with Herbert. Goff, I think Herbert and Goff over Daniel Jones makes sense. I think Jones has been very productive. He's been very solid, but I trust Herbert and Goff a little more. Running back, we've got Montgomery and then Scattaboo, Henderson, or that's about it. We're going to go with Scattaboo. He's getting more opportunity than Henderson is right now. AJ Brown, Amon-Ra at wide receiver. Sam Laporta at tight end over Kraft. I agree because he's not banged up. Zay Flowers, Jacoby Myers in your flex. Yes. And then we have Henderson. Then we have Hollywood at wide receiver. Let's go with Hollywood. I would start Hollywood over Kraft this week. Again, if you only have to start one tight end and a non-tight end premium, let's start all wide receivers in flex instead of Kraft and Laporta. We'll go with Hollywood going up against the Giants. I mean, you just saw what those wide receivers did against the Giants defense last week. I think Holly's going to have a good day. All right, Tritty Burr. Got a trade question from him in Dynasty. Jamar Chase for Odunze and JSN. I'm going to call this fair. I'm not big on selling Jamar Chase right now, but this is a fair deal. That's 2 second-round Dynasty wide receivers for a first-rounder. I think it's a fair move. Appreciate your submission, man, and your question. Again, guys, if you want to get your start, sit, and trade questions answered, we got 30 minutes before the first slate of games starts happening. Feel free to follow that link if you want to get your start, sit, or trade question guaranteed to be answered, or follow the link pinned in the comments as well. T. Gilligan, we got Drake May at QB over Michael Penix. I agree. Bucky at running back, CD and Nico at wide receiver, tight ends Tyler Warren, and then BTJ, Jordan Mason, or Ricky Pearsall at wide receiver. I think you got to go with the highest upside, most talented player, true player, and you got to go with BTJ. Good question. All about upside in a 10-team start 6, so you want to make sure you're maximizing that upside. Hands down, BTJ offers that. Skyvo, Drake May, Trevor Lawrence. Yes. Monty and Devon Achane at running back. Yes. And then Neighbors, BTJ at wide receiver. Tight end is McBride. Flexing, Olave. And then it's Scattaboo, Swift, Hunter, Myers. So we'll go Myers. And then with Swift having that hamstring issue, I'm a little bit worried. But Scattaboo has a tough matchup against Kansas City, so we'll go Swift. Appreciate your submission, man. Hopefully that helps. Falky, what's up, man? This is start sit. Talking about Mahomes, Bucky, and Henderson at running back. Yeah, you got to start Henderson. Garrett Wilson and Neighbors at wide receiver. Tyler Warren at tight end. I've seen so many Warrens at tight end. It warms my heart. It makes me so happy. So many of you guys ended up getting Tyler Warren on your teams. I would hope. Because of our content. But if not, because like you guys are just, I love that you have Tyler Warren. He's a Colts guy. Big fan. At your flex, it's basically JMO or Devonta Smith. I'm going to go with JMO. It's a wide receiver 2 and a more explosive offense that passes the ball more often. Appreciate your submission, Falky. Wilson, HE13. We got Jordan Love at QB because Daniels is down. We got Derrick Henry and Brown, Chase Brown at running back. We have Amon-Ra and Tyreek Hill at wide receiver. Hawkinson at tight end. I would start Kelsey at tight end this week. Hawkinson has not been producing. Travis Etienne in your flex over Keenan Allen, Hunter, DJ Moore. I think you're right there. You got to take the bell cow running back, the number one option, over these guys that all have competition to deal with at wide receiver. It raises your floor in your flex. Yeah, you're definitely on the right track there. Considering Kelsey over Hawk, I think you should definitely go Kelsey over Hawk. I would not drop Travis Hunter for Boutte or Phantom, by the way. I would avoid overreacting about Hunter either. I would keep him on your bench right now. Sit him if you can. And don't freak out yet. But bad time to move him. All right. We got a start sit from Chase Boy. Appreciate you, man. He says start sit Igbuka, Marv, or Terry. We're going to go with Marv this week. He's the only guy that doesn't have any injury questions, whether it's him directly or his quarterback. Tight end, Juwan Johnson or Njoku. Juwan Johnson. He's been out producing Njoku. Good question there, man. That's tough. You got a lot of good names there. It's just about maximizing your upside this week, and I think Marv and Juwan Johnson do that for you. Chicago Bears 10-22. We got Caleb Williams at QB because Purdy is down. We got JT, Bucky at running back. We have CD and Rome Odunze at wide receiver to pair with Hunter, Franklin, Worthy, or Boutte. Worthy's down. This one is where I would start Hunter over Franklin even, honestly. And then tight end, we've got Harold Fannin, and then you're flexing Omari and Hampton over all these guys, including Tracy. I agree. So good lineup. Hopefully Hunter can do something this week. Again, I'm not saying that he can't or won't. I'm just saying more often than not, we want to be patient. If you have to put him in your starting lineup, like that specific situation, I think you kind of have to do it. Dak Prescott and Caleb Williams, we're going to put at QB going up against each other this week. Alvin Kamara at running back, and then Hampton or Warren at running back. Those guys are going to be pretty close in our rankings this week. We have Warren at running back 18. We have Amari and Hampton at running back 24. We're going to go with Warren this week. And then wide receiver, Malik Neighbors and Jamar Chase. Love it. Tucker Kraft or Laporta at tight end. I'm going to go with Laporta again because Tucker Kraft has that knee injury. And then Ladd and Odunze in your flex. Love all the proven vets that you have in this offense or in this starting lineup. Not sitting Hampton because we don't like him. But again, if you can help it and you just want to not risk the floor and wait for him to produce at a really high level, then just wait. And that's totally fine. I love Ladd and Odunze in your flex here. No problem, man. Happy to help you. And a lot of Hampton questions this week. Isaac says Omarion Hampton or Travion Henderson. Hampton has less of an unfavorable split with Najee compared to Henderson and Ramondre right now, and he's in a better offense. So I would go with Omarion Hampton this week. Good question. Is JSN going to play today? Yes, it was announced that he's expected to play today with the flu. Falky said, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I get frustrated by people not wanting to trade in Dynasty. Yeah, a lot of people are kind of stingy in Dynasty, especially right now. They want to kind of wait and see what their team outlook is going to look like for the rest of the season. Again, guys, if you want to get your start-sit questions or trade questions answered before the 1 o'clock slate, then feel free to submit those. We'll stay on for a few more minutes, and then I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day watching football, because I certainly will be. SJC, appreciate your question, man. We've got Jordan Love at QB. We've got Henry and Achane at running back. We got Puka and Amon-Ra, and then Ertz at tight end over Njoku. I agree. Flex deciding between Swift, Henderson, Hollywood, and Keenan Allen. That's a tough decision to make. So we'll go Swift over Henderson this week because Henderson's splitting a backfield. But are we going to take Hollywood over Keenan Allen? Hollywood this week we have ranked a little bit lower because he didn't produce last week, but I'm not going to lie. With Worthy being declared out, $16 targets week 1 against the Chargers, 5 targets against Philadelphia on a much worse defense. I mean, look at what CeeDee Lamb and Pickens did. CeeDee Lamb, 13 or 11 targets against the Giants, 9 receptions for 112 yards. Pickens had 9 targets, 5 receptions, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Dak Prescott threw the ball 52 times for 361 yards and 2 touchdowns. Do we want to go DeAndre Swift with the hamstring this week, or do we want to take the upside shot on Hollywood Brown? Swift is taking on Dallas, which is really tough. But again, you couldn't ask for, honestly, a better matchup for Hollywood than this week. My gut's telling me Hollywood, man. I'm going to go Hollywood. I don't feel great about Swift in that hamstring issue. Again, he didn't really produce last week against Detroit. 13 points, 9 points against Minnesota. Dallas, by far and away, going to be the best one. But again, playing through the injury, he has a quad injury. I've heard quad, I've heard hamstring. I've heard both. But again, he hasn't really practiced much this week at all either. So I'm just kind of worried about that. Let's go with Hollywood. Let's bet on the target volume. Appreciate your submission, man. Harry 9. It also includes his 27 first and my 26 third. In a Dynasty, Zay Flowers in a first for JMO in a third. Or is this JMO in a first? Sorry, you're getting the first. JMO in a first for Zay Flowers in a third. I'll take the first. I like that move. Good question, Harry. Swift or Dylan Sampson? Definitely Swift. Swift is at least the one there. Dylan Sampson is no longer the number one with Judkins back. Again, guys, last chance to get your start sits and trade questions submitted if you would like. But if not, we'll sign off and get ready for the games to start at 1. Full PPR, Dak or Herbert and Jake Ferguson or Tucker Kraft. We'll go Herbert this week and we'll go Tucker Kraft. Thank you, David. You're the GOAT. Thank you for looking through the comments for me. J-Rock said AJ Brown or Rome this week. We'll go with Rome. Rome's the number one in an offense where he's actually producing. AJ Brown is not producing right now. So got to go with the guy who's balling. Charlie said, yo, chat, start DJ Moore or Myers with Caleb starting for me at QB, full PPR. I would start Myers. He's the wide receiver 1 in his offense. DJ Moore is not. and start Thornton, Alec Pierce, or Jalen Naylor. Alec Pierce is in the best offense with the highest volume opportunity to get like big plays. So I would go with Alec Pierce. I think he had like 9 points last week. Yeah, SJC said target volume had me leaning Hollywood or Allen for sure. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help. Keenan Allen honestly is a very tempting start as well because he's been producing. It's like, how can you not start him? But again, Keenan is going up against Denver, which is a tougher matchup. I just feel like Hollywood, after that week 116 target showing and with no Worthy this week, not going up against Philly's defense, I think you're going to see a better version of the Chiefs offense. I'm going to bet on Holly. DJ Moore or Devontae Adams. I'll take the number 2 that's actually producing. I'll take Devontae Adams. Good question. Henderson or Ibuka PPR with Ibuka being limited in snaps, according to Schefter. I would go Ibuka. Again, Henderson is also going to, you got to think about this. Even though Henderson is healthy, Henderson is also going to have limited snaps because he's been limited for the first 2 weeks of the season because, again, he's splitting carries with Ramondre. So these are 2 technically limited guys. One limited to the injury, other limited just because of opportunity. I would go with Ibuka because he's the one that's producing. Swift, Henderson, or Hunter flex PPR. I would go Swift over those guys. All right, guys. That's going to do it for today. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, the more you guys drop likes on these streams on Sundays, the more we'll be able to do them. But appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Happy to answer your start, sit, and trade questions for you. And hope you enjoy another beautiful, wonderful Sunday with NFL football. Appreciate it and enjoy it now because it's going to go away like that, like it does every single year. So we're already in week 3. Before you know it, we're going to be halfway through, and then we're going to be at the end of the year. So have fun. Good luck in your fantasy teams. Drop a like if you haven't already. Really appreciate you guys, and we will see you again soon. Have a good Sunday, everybody.